How's it going, guys? This is Jack here with the Commander's Wire, and welcome back to another video. We have some more breaking news that came out last night, Thursday night, where Ian Rappaport reported the Commanders have decided to cut starting center Tyler Biadasz. Now, do I know why they did this? I have no clue. Do I have somewhat of an idea? Maybe. Before we get into today's video, I really would appreciate it if you guys would go down below, drop a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to know when I post next. I really would appreciate it, and it would let me know that you guys want more Commanders content just like this. So without further ado, let's get right into this breaking news video. So like I said before, Ian Rappaport reported that the Commanders have decided to cut starting center Tyler Biadasz. I think this is a very surprising move. A lot of the fans really don't agree with this move. We thought that he was a pretty solid starting center. He started off his career, I believe, 4 years with the Dallas Cowboys before coming over to the Washington Commanders for the last 2 years following Dan Quinn, in order to play with starting quarterback Jaden Daniels. We all thought that he was a pretty good starting center. They gave him a 3-year deal. This is coming into his last year as a starting center. And the reason they decided to cut him was because they were going in a different direction. Now, this also could mean that his knee injury that he had late last season could be lingering more and could be more serious than they originally thought. That also could mean that because of the new scheme they're trying to implement with this offense, maybe Tyler Biadasz just does not fit for that scheme, and they want to move on to someone else. Now, before we get into new names that could potentially come to the Washington Commanders at the center position, whether it be in free agency and the draft, we have a couple names that are already on the roster that could be replacing Tyler Biadasz as their starting center. Now, the first one that comes to mind is Nick Allegretti. I think he's not a good center at all, and if they are deciding to cut Tyler Biadasz in order to pick up Nick Allegretti as the starting center, I don't think that's a great move at all. Now, before we get into the rest of the names, I believe they're designating this cut as a post-June 1st cut. Now, what does that mean? With a post-June 1st designation, the Commanders are able to save almost $8 million on the cap. And if they did not decide to do this, if they decided to make it a pre-June 1st cut, they only would be saving $2 million. So that is a $6 million difference, and obviously by designating it a post-June 1st cut, they're saving a lot more money. Now, the next name that comes to mind is Julian Good-Jones. He's a depth guy on the offensive line. I think he's playing tackle for the Washington Commanders, but I believe he played a lot of center in college, so that could be a name to watch here with the Washington Commanders. Maybe someone that they would deem as their starter right away, and then they decide to spend a third-round pick or their fifth-round pick on a solid center. This draft class is very deep in the centers, so there's about 10 to 15 guys I think that may have a chance to get drafted. They're definitely not all top draft picks, but maybe back part of day 2 and a lot of day 3 picks that definitely are starting caliber centers in the NFL. Now, the last name that comes to mind is Brandon Coleman. I know he's been moved all around the offensive line. However, Dan Quinn did put out in his original press conference at the end of the season that they've been having Brandon Coleman practice all over the place. He's been practicing as that jumbo kind of swing tackle, coming in on 6-man formations, as well as taking snaps during practice. So Brandon Coleman could be looking to start the season at another new position this year, which I don't know if this is the smartest move. However, he's going from left tackle to left guard to the center position. Now, he's a young guy. He definitely has a lot of space to learn. So if he's able to be a decent starting center, I would not be that opposed to it. He could be center. They may re-sign Chris Paul to be at left guard, and then obviously they're going to extend Laremy Tunsil at left tackle, so I would not be opposed to that offensive line, but I don't know if originally cutting Tyler Biadasz was the right move to make. Now, I have some notable free agents the team could look into signing this offseason to replace Tyler Biadasz. Before we get into that, though, Tyler Biadasz was not a bad center at all. I believe he was ranked 12th on the PFF grading scale out of all about maybe around 40 starting centers that started in the NFL this season, and that's really just not bad at all. So I don't know why they decided to cut him. I know that at times Tyler Biadasz could definitely get lost on the offensive line, leaving guys unblocked. And especially this season, there was a big play in the Green Bay Packers game where he just did not even see a guy, and the guy ran right past him and basically sacked Jaden. before Jaden was able to somewhat throw it away. I don't remember if the play actually resulted in a sack or not, but it was one of the first plays that come to mind. And apparently there's been a lot of people all over X this past season in a lot of different games that are commenting on the play that Tyler Biadasz has given us, and really just is not good. So maybe the grading, the way that the grading works, he's a decent center, but on film he may just not be the answer with the Washington Commanders, and he was kind of that weak link on the offensive line. Now I think the offensive line this season really was one of the better positional groups with the Washington Commanders. There are obviously not a lot of good positional groups with the Washington Commanders this season due to injuries or just lack of talent, but I think the offensive line really just did not have a lot of injuries to start out with, and because of that, they are probably one of the best positional groups on the team for the 2025 season. But we're going to get into some notable free agents. I'm going to put up a list right now. The first guy that comes to mind was a recent cut candidate as well with the Tennessee Titans, Lloyd Cushenberry. He is someone that was definitely one of the top paid centers. I think his previous AAV was $12.5 million. Now maybe you can get him in here for $10 million or so. I don't really know how good he is technically, but he could be someone the Commanders could be looking into signing. The next guy really stands out to me. That's going to be Connor McGovern, formerly with the Buffalo Bills. He was formerly getting paid $7.5 million, and I think maybe getting him up there to $9 million or even $10 or $11 million a year, or even more, would probably be the best option. He's the center for Josh Allen, and Josh Allen is a very similar player to Jaden Daniels when it comes to his dynamic playmaking. So I think that similar play style would definitely help with this Commanders offense. The next guy is Ethan Pocic. I don't know how to say his last name. Formerly with the Cleveland Browns. He's 30 years old. However, he's definitely a very solid starting center in the NFL, and he's probably looking for about $10.5 million this year. The next guy is going to be Cade Mays. This is another young guy. He's 26 years old, probably going to be 27 once the season starts. Formerly with the Carolina Panthers, he's probably going to be looking for about $12 million a year for market value. And then the biggest name that really comes to mind is Tyler Linderbaum, probably one of the top starting center names in this free agency class, formerly with the Baltimore Ravens. He was a former first-round pick, and there's a reason why he was a former first-round pick. However, I don't know if it's worth getting into a bidding war with another team over Tyler Linderbaum. I don't know if he gives you that much of an upgrade over Tyler Biadasz personally, and if he's going to get paid almost $17 million, I don't know if the Commanders should be looking to spend too much time on a name like that when they can get someone like Cade Mays or Connor McGovern for a lot less than that, and they may be looking to join the Commanders right away. So we'll just have to see. They could be looking into getting maybe a kind of one-year deal with a older veteran, maybe like Ethan Pocic. Sorry, I don't know how to say that last name, but they could be maybe looking for a 1 or 2 year deal with someone like that, and then they could be looking into getting some guy in the draft as well. Some names that come to mind is a guy like Connor Lew. He was in one of my mock drafts. Now, before I get into the rest of the names, some of you guys were making fun of my mock drafts, asking me why I took a center. And I told you guys that sometimes you need center depth, and we didn't have any. And look at us now. We don't even have a starting center on the roster. So maybe taking a center in the third round is not so stupid after all. But I digress. We'll get into this list here. Some of the notable names I see is Connor Lew, the center from Auburn, Sam Hecht, the center from Kansas State. This guy's going to be a top name. Jake Slaughter, the center from Florida. Then you have like a Brian Parker II, the center from Duke. Pat Coogan, the center from Indiana. I think he's also going to be a good top name to look for in this draft. And then Logan Jones, the center from Iowa. I think all Iowa offensive linemen are just always super solid, so he's another name to be looking out for this offseason, especially in the draft. So this is definitely a surprising move by the Washington Commanders. However, if they're making a move so close to the start of the new year, I believe they have a plan in place. They definitely have a guy that they may already be talking to. Who knows? They're not supposed to. They may already have some informal communication between someone else that they could be looking to upgrade the center position at with Tyler Biadasz. So I don't think Adam Peters is that stupid in just letting their only starting center, who was pretty solid this season, definitely above average, just go in free agency. There's definitely a reason, whether it be scheme or his performance on the field, or even that lurking knee injury. Maybe he's fully back from it. However, it just doesn't feel the same, and that could be a reason to cut him. However, they're always going to say they're going to be moving on to someone else, maybe just because the injury settlement they may have to give him if the reason for releasing him is the injury. But regardless, it seems to be like they're moving on to somebody else, whether it be a guy already on the roster, someone in free agency, or even somebody in the draft. And I'm not surprised. There's definitely a lot of talented centers in this year's offseason, whether it be in the draft or free agency, that I think could come in, start over Tyler Biadasz anyway, and I think would just be better overall, especially with the new David Blau scheme that's going to be implemented here in Washington. But we will just have to see once the offseason starts here in a couple weeks. This is the end of today's video. Let me know down in the comments, what are your thoughts on this move? Do you guys agree with Tyler Biadasz being cut, or do you guys disagree? Did you guys want him to stay? I'm personally kind of torn on this move. On one hand, I think it was kind of weird why they cut our starting center, the only one on the roster. I thought he was pretty solid for us. I just would rather them just play out the rest of his deal through the 2026 season, and then address whatever they needed to address, either through the draft, maybe getting a guy this year to kind of sit behind Tyler Biadasz and then take over the reins next year, or finding somebody in the draft or free agency next year that could be this team's new starting center if they wanted to move off of Tyler Biadasz anyway. So, but because they decided to cut a starting player, maybe they already have a plan in place. They're not just going to do this willy-nilly and just see what happens, right? They are obviously have a plan in place to kind of justify this move that they made, cutting Tyler Biadasz. So maybe that plan is going to be much better than the alternative, which is Tyler Biadasz. So maybe we're looking for a heavy upgrade on the offensive line this season. And offensive line, I believe, was already pretty good. So we'll just have to see once the offseason starts. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this video is a little late for this topic. It came out last night, but I decided to get it here as quick as I can. I'm going to be gone again this weekend. I'm going to a wedding, so do not expect any videos from me over the next couple of days. However, come next week, I'm going to be putting out a video over the risers and fallers, both on the offensive side and the defensive side of this year's 2026 NFL Draft Combine. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. God bless, and hail to the Commanders.